Good morning, good morning. Are you ready? It's the Money Mike's morning show. And we want to wish each and every one of you a beautiful day. And we always promise we're going to start you on the way. So here on the Money Mike's morning show, let's get to it. Boy, the market is moving like hot chocolate this morning. You got the S&P 500. We cracked the 5,000 mark. Dangerous territory. Finished up. It's up right now at 106. You got the Dow Jones is just rocking right ahead. 39.49 are looking plus, almost 400 bucks up this morning. You got the NASDAQ rocking and rolling. It's coming in over 16,000 plus 470. That's 3% up for the NASDAQ. You got a percentage up for the Dow, and you're looking at about 2% on the S&P 500. We're not going to stop there. You got 0.75% with Russell 2000. They cracked over. And then you got the crude oil. We had a little dip, but guess what? Since everything's going up, the crude oil's going up too. So here's what you got, folks. The Money Mike is telling you now the market is moving. The market is moving with AI. And, you know, Nvidia, man, they just blew through. Nvidia blew through the numbers, and here's what you got. This is all going to be speculation, folks. So please understand that when they're reporting this and the market is rising, this is on the AI speculation. And when you get this, you just got to go. This is where it's going. Now, understand these valuations of billions of dollars, they haven't made a dime yet. Okay, it's just like the EV market. The electronic vehicle market, nobody's made a profit yet. Okay, they're trying to stretch to a profit. But here's what you got. And then you got going forward in the business world now, you got to take a look. Walmart, of course, they killed their earnings as well. Nvidia blew out its earnings yesterday in the evening. I always kind of took a peek at it and I said, okay, Nvidia, they're pulling out. No, they're not. Nvidia hit through the rocket ship, and that's going to be the soaring thing. We're going to have a lot of AI and a lot of technology. And folks, if the Dow Jones, if they allow the technology to move into the Dow Jones, let me tell you what you're going to have. You're going to have somewhere in the neighborhood of about, I don't know, can the Dow Jones get to 100,000? If technology moves into it, you're going to get to 100,000. That's just the plain ifs, ands, and buts. But, you know, you got to take it all in consideration because we're moving into technology. I told you guys earlier the middle class is going to be eliminated because technology is going to take that role. And automation for Walmart, they want to be just like Amazon. They've got the distribution centers because each and every Walmart store is a distribution center. So basically all they need to do is get in there and get the shipping. And there's nothing like wrong with a little bit of competition. Actually, Amazon, if they ask me, they got too many clients. And their efficiency's running a little thin. So Walmart's saying we'll take a little bit of that off your plate. And that's how it really works, you know. But the Wall Street, it's going to go bullish on Nvidia. Now, here's something that happened. Of course, I'm retired from AT&T, but this happened, and this was major. AT&T ran an outage yesterday, okay, and it turned the workday into an apocalypse. And here's what you got with that, folks. Every time you got to look at this and you got to say, hey, okay, if we're losing a little money, okay, and I told you about Harvey Lipston. If you lose a second, you're going to lose a minute. If you lose a minute, you're going to lose an hour. If you lose an hour, you're going to lose a day. If you lose a day, okay, you're going to lose a month. And if you lose a month, then you're going to lose a year. So with the AT&T outage yesterday, I mean, people lost money, okay? And here's the thing that happens with AT&T, and I believe in it, you know, and I retired there 23 years, National Business Markets. Here's what happened. We promise you 5 nines in an SLA. An SLA, folks, is a service level agreement, okay? Now, when we promise you that, and that's in the contract, here's what goes down. Because you can have an outage, and I'm telling you, somebody can lose $1 million in a day, okay? So if you're going to, and when that happens, you got to get it back up. Now, they're restoring it. Here's the issue with that, okay? Because AT&T, you have the public internet, which everybody resides and transport on. But the AT&T network is on a private network, okay? And that has the resilience, the firewalls. I mean, everything is built up in there in protection, disaster recovery. Everything is built, and somehow, some way, the network went down, and it turned into a nightmare, okay? And you're talking about where no one can move the money. Nobody can move the money around. Everything is based off the internet. And folks, this is what I told us a long time ago as we move in AI. Okay, if you have an outage, okay, in AI, how's it going to know what to do? Okay, because that is being programmed and directed. So it's a scary world, but it's the world we live in today. So that kind of went down, and AT&T, they looks like they're back up and they're going to do things on again. And again, the other thing I always bring you to say this, the federal government, you take Powell, who's actually going to be the one that's actually trying to decide. I mean, you can't keep bumping these rates. And folks, this is what's happening when you get the bump in the rates and everything kind of changes. And let me tell you how that kind of figures itself out. Because eventually, ain't nobody going to be able to make the payroll. Okay, and I know you think the corporations are making millions, but some of these guys have trouble just making the payroll. Okay, and so when that happens, you got to know that things are going to get a little dicey. Okay, the Treasury bond, I told you about that yesterday, and the banks are feeling the pressure. Because here's what happens, and like I told you, I've been through all the GOP and the Republican presidents. At some point, these banks are going to have to write off the loan loss reserves. Okay, I mean, because China's market, it's a bloodbath. When I say a bloodbath for all the banks who invested in China and got technology and all that investment over there, let me tell you what's going down. They've lost money. And eventually, we had this situation many years back when you had the savings and loan. Okay, and I know the GOP and everybody remember. That's why I don't have no fear of Trump. There's really nothing you can do as far as if you're in enterprise business and you're here to make a profit. Now, as far as the other people and the changing and everything, that's a different story. But back in the savings and loan scandal, the banks lost a tremendous amount of money. Okay, we have more banks, more savings and loan in America than you could ever imagine. However, we did a lot of international presence and a lot of international business. And that's what's happening now. There's a lot of international presence and a lot of international business. Now, since we've had the coronavirus and since the market is shut down, folks, there's tremendous losses that have been taken. And the banks have taken tremendous losses. And I'm telling you, when you're talking about a technology, you got to look down Silicon Valley. You got banks that are just folding up, okay? And here's the deal. With China and all the strategic dumping of the Treasury bonds, let me tell you what happens. You have a situation where the U.S. is saying, here's our debt. And they're saying, we don't want your debt anymore. We don't even want the dollar existing anymore. That's a challenge. So here's what the arms race is going to do, the technology race. The United States is committed to be the leader in technology. We are coming hard and fast, okay? Folks, they are rolling this out faster than you can think, and I think by the end of 2024, you're going to see us up fully running. This is a high-stakes poker game, and you know what? Money Mike's going to look at this like Netflix, okay? The United States is like Netflix when it comes to the economies. We've got the most subscriptions. We've got the most people. We've got everything in order. We're going to hit this button with AI, and we're going to say automation throughout our shipping, all of our domestic and international supplies, our supply chain. Everything is getting mastered up. Now, here's where the election come in. Okay, and this is what's going down. This is where the tech race is really happening. Because you got the Democratic Party funding up on the tech race. They're funding up Biden. You got the GOP Republican Party. They're funding up Trump. Here's the deal. Okay, one of those guys is going to get in, and they know why they're getting all these fundings. Okay, and here's the deal why Trump never scares me, because if you ask not, you have not. Okay, and with Donald Trump, man, we got to ask him some things. We can't control whether he's in or not. That's going to happen. But we got to ask him for things. I brought up something the other day, and maybe it's in existence. I don't know about it because I like to put some money in there. Is why doesn't the University of Historical Black Colleges don't have their own bank, Donald Trump? Why don't the University of Historical Black Colleges do not have their own bank? We have many students. We've got many administrators. We've got many family members. And you know what? I look at this and, when you got to go get loans and everything and you're paying this interest and everybody wants to do. That's where I'm at with Donald Trump. Donald Trump, you know what? If you're going to do it, if we have not because we ask not, and that's the way it works in business. But Donald Trump, if you're going to be the president and you're saying you want the African-American vote, then Donald Trump, let's come out and say that you can give the University of Historical Black Colleges their own bank. And I brought this up just the other day with Amazon, because Amazon was releasing the movie The Banker, but somehow that movie never got released. Okay, Samuel Jackson, and they talked about capital leasing, capital rent costs. I mean, it's just the knowledge we got to have. And I'll tell you this, America, you got a right to be American, but everybody else has a right as well, okay? And it's time for the independence. I always told you, Money Mike told you, we don't have to get along to do business together, okay? But in the end of the day, I mean, you got the property, we got the land, you got the money, and here's the deal. You know, I've heard a lot of things about Shaw University, and when you look at it, at Shaw University, and let me tell you, from a real estate perspective, because I've been down to Raleigh, I had to go down there and take a look. Let me see what's going on. And that market value of real estate went so high. I mean, it outpaced California. Okay, and that's basically impossible. However, you got Shaw University, okay, is down there right now, okay, and they got some renovations they're going to have to do. And folks are talking about this attendance at Shaw University. Let me just tell you, because I got enough knowledge in this business game and the knowledge in the world that Shaw University could completely eliminate all the buildings, put up new buildings, have 5,000 students tomorrow. Okay, that's the game that's being played. Now, here's what Shaw University has done in their 140 years of existence. They've protected and shielded what they own. Okay, so it's not all about, yeah, they can get money. I mean, don't get me wrong, folks. Here's where Money Mike's going with, you can have your own bank. The HBCUs need their own bank. Okay, they need their own banking institution because they have property, they have land, and if you're going to do these remodelings and all this, you might as well pay yourself. Okay, because at the end of the day, here's what you're talking about. You're talking about a collective university campus that can go through renovations, remodel, increase the student population, increase the athletic facilities. The only thing is, here's what people must and always understand. You've got plenty of money being offered to Shaw University, okay? But here's what you're not hearing is the conditions that they want to come with the money. And I salute to the administration of Shaw University for not taking that money because they've been offered. And for those of you who think they have a problem, they don't have no problem with money. Money Mike's been around the world. I've seen when there's problems with money, okay? They're putting it in the right spot. They understand those renovations are going to be done. And Money Mike's syndicated podcast, let me tell you how. If you want to know the know, because in my world, in the business world, corporate enterprise business, I need to know the information before the information is given. And this is what happens. If you want to know what's going on, go on down to the City Planning Commission. Any one of you guys out there in the business world in your city, go on down to the City Planning Commission and go in there and look at the permits. It's all public information. None of this is secret. And see what's been proposed. You might be surprised. I'm not going to get too deep in it. But I understand real estate and how the property value works and appreciation. And I understand when you're borrowing against yourself. Because if you're going to borrow money, borrow it against yourself, your own money. You know, believe it or not, you can do that. And at the end of the day, the HBCUs, for everything that they need and all the transitioning and all the student population, all the employees, they need their own bank. Okay, it's no different than Patelco Credit Union. Patelco Credit Union came in existence because of AT&T. So why not have a credit union at the HBCU credit union? It might be in existence. Maybe I missed it. Because if it's in existence, I want to go put some money in there. And let them have the interest on the money. That's where Money Mike is. So we're going to move on and we're going to keep looking to see what we can do here. But at the end of the day, you know, you got the Federal Reserve. They're under pressure. I mean, this pipe's going to burst one way or the other. That's where Money Mike is. I just wanted to bring it to you and let you know. Now we push it on over. Rick Pitino, St. John's coach, he backed off his statement. Rick Pitino walks back, said, words of matter, I'm at fault. That's a coach. See, a lot of coaches, they don't want to admit when things aren't going their way. Rich Pitino said, hey, man, you know what? We're not getting it done. It's my fault. Okay? Then you got on the other side, you got Charlie Woods, Tiger Woods' son. Okay? He's working out there. He's trying to qualify for his first PGA event. Okay, that's big news because Charlie can swing the sticks. And for those of you, you know, who play golf and understand the game of golf, it's a great mindset. You get out there, you got the birds, you got the peace. There's nothing but tranquility. But Charlie Woods is a damn good golfer. I've watched him, and I tell you what, he might outplay Tiger because he's coming in, man. He can swing them sticks. He can hit it long. I've seen him bump down an eagle in the pro-am playing with Dad. So Charlie Woods is a serious, serious golfer. You got the NBA set to kick it on back tonight. The Lakers and the Warriors, let's get it on. We're going to see what the Lakers look like. That's my pick for the championship. I'm always worried about the funky music, Austin Reeves. But, tonight they'll have a little pressure. This is game time tonight. It's a big game. Everybody's going to be back in action. So you got to know that these things are going to happen. And I'll tell you this. You got the Kings are going to play the San Antonio Spurs. Orlando's got Cleveland. Detroit's got Indiana. New York's going to go against Philly. Brooklyn's got Toronto. And Phoenix is going to hook it up with Dallas. Okay, so, at the end of the day, Money Mike puts them together. You got Kuminga. Man, I told you he was a franchise player. And guess what? He's rising, man. He's getting it done. LeBron James is not going to play tonight. He's going to be off the board. So the Lakers and the Warriors are going to get it in, but LeBron's going to be off the board with an ankle injury. The Knicks, Rando is progressing. He had a shoulder injury, for the New York Knicks. So he's progressing, and he's going to be on his way back as well. So you got the NBA is going to kick it off, and man, I'm going to tell you something. When the NBA kicks it off, it's nice because now they have to play for real. They don't get to do all this fancy stuff they used to do. They got to do everything by the book, and when that happens, folks, I'm going to tell you, it's not good for anybody that's going to step in there and going to handle it because Jason Tatum, it's time for him to get it done, and he hasn't got it done yet. So you got a lot of guys that are in there, and it's the NBA, it's rock and roll. I'll tell you this, I like the Lakers, I like Memphis. I think they're going to do it. I like Boston. I think Jaylen Brown's the best ball player on Boston. People like Tatum, but Brown's a better player to me. That's what it is. And the Warriors have signed Pat Spencer to a 2-way contract, so he'll be on the end of the bench. But let's go and keep it going. Okay, we got Nets. Of course, they fired Jacqueline Brown, the Brooklyn Nets. Man, I don't understand the NBA firing coaches that are winning, but heck, do what you got to do. Jack Vaughn is out. Kevin Ollie's mentioned as a replacement. And we got former Houston Rockets star Robert Reed, passed away, 68 years old, battled with cancer, played with Calvin Murphy. That's a heck of a guy. And you got the Heat, the forward, Hayward Highsmith is being sued by a victim of a crash that led to a partial amputation. Man, just get drivers, man. NBA needs to just require all NBA players, only 4 of them. Every NBA player should be required to have a driver. You shouldn't let a guy get behind the wheel, period. Okay? So that's what you got going on. I think it's going to be what it's going to be, but Money Mike, we're keeping it in the way it should be. We're not taking it away. You got Mark Madness is rocking around, and then you got USC and Bronny James. I told you guys how I feel about the Bronny. Let me tell you what's going on with Bronny. Bronny's going to be a better pro player than he's a college player. So as he's rolling up at the USC and he's running that coach's system, Bronny ain't even cut loose yet. Okay, Bronny is just like J.J. Redick. Man, he can read the floor, cut the floor. He's got immediate elevation on his jumper. Don't sleep on Bronny James because you guys have got it wrong. Okay, and I'm going to tell you, I've looked at thousands. I can tell you, I can go all the way back. You name it, I've looked at him, and I can quantify him in about 30 seconds. But when I look at here and I look at what he does and how he's been trained, folks, Bronny James has been trained for the NBA, not college basketball. So they're running the college basketball game over there at SC. Bronny James is staying in the system. But guys, let me tell you, Bronny James is a pro. Okay, and he's going to be just like J.J. Redick. So move over, let it be what it's going to be. You're listening to the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast, and we're just going to keep on pushing it higher and higher. We understand that all things are possible to those who believe. And what we always try to tell you is if you can reach high and get better and better, you'll go higher and higher. The other thing about that, we always know that we can go boldly through the throne of grace. So if you got something that you're going to do it. And if Money Mike can do it, anybody can do it. The only thing I said is don't have any fear, because when God's on your side, you're going to walk through places and doors that you've never been before. So we're going to keep on pushing it out there. You're listening to the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast, and that's going to kick us off. And we'll be back with you tomorrow, give you the hot takes, and keep an eye on the market. Like I said, Nvidia is going to blow through the roof. The banks are still going to be under pressure. And my, oh my, let's see what happens. You're listening to the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast.